Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to understand the concept of bail under criminal law. So the first question is, what exactly is bail? When a person is arrested, the law does not always require the person must stay in jail until the case ends. Bail is a process by which an accused person is released from custody subject to certain conditions. This means the person is allowed to remain free while the investigation or trial is going on. Bail can be granted by a court and in some cases even by the police. Now it is very important to understand one thing here. Bail does not mean that the person has been declared innocent. It is also does not mean that the case has ended. Bail only deals with one question. Should the accused be kept in jail or can the accused be released while the case continues? Since arrest and detention seriously affects personal liberty, the law treats bail as a safeguard against unnecessary imprisonment. The main purpose of bail is to make sure that the accused appears before the court whenever required, not to punish the person in advance. For example, if a person is arrested for a minor offense and the court believes that the keeping the person in jail is not necessary, the court may grant bail and release the person on certain conditions. Now that the question is, why does the law grant bail at all? The main reason is the protection of personal liberty. Our legal system starts with a very important principle, that is, every accused person is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. Because of this, the law believes that a person should not be kept in jail as a routine matter before conviction. Pre-trial detention is therefore meant to be an exception, not the rule. In reality, criminal trials often take a long time. There is an investigation, collection of evidences, examination of witnesses, and multiple court hearings. If bail is denied as a matter of course, an accused person may end up spending years in jails even before the court decides guilt. In some cases, this period may even exceed the punishment prescribed for the offense. Bail exists to ensure that the imprisonment is not used as a substitute for punishment before guilt is legally established. For example, consider a person accused of a minor offense where a trial is likely to take a long time. Keeping such a person in jail throughout the trial would cause unnecessary hardship, loss of livelihood, and social stigma. In such cases, granting bail protects liberty while still ensuring that the accused faces the trial. After understanding why bail is granted, the next question is, are all bails are the same? The answer is no. Bail takes different forms depending on the stages of the criminal case. Over the time, courts have developed these forms through judicial interpretation to deal with different situations. Each form of bail serves a specific and practical purpose. The law does not strictly classify bail into fixed categories. Instead, courts have evolved practical forms of bail to respond to real life situations. These forms help the court to decide whether the bail should be granted before arrest, after arrest, or due to delay in investigation. Understanding these different forms helps us see how bail law functions in practice rather than just in theory. For instance, if a person has already been arrested and is in custody, the appropriate remedy is regular bail. On the other hand, If a person fears arrest in particular case, that person may approach the court for an anticipatory bail. Similarly, where the investigation is delayed, the law provides for default bail. Now, let us understand the difference between regular bail and anticipatory bail. Regular bail applies after a person has already been arrested. At this stage, the accused is either in police custody or judicial custody. On the other hand, anticipatory bail applies before the arrest. It is a prospective remedy for a person who apprehend arrest in a particular case. Although both are forms of bail, they operate at different stages and serves different purpose. Regular bail comes into operation once the police have exercised their power of arrest. The court then examines whether the continued detention of the accused is really necessary. Anticipatory bail acts as a preventive safeguard. It protects individual from unnecessary or motivated arrest and prevents misuse of power to arrest. While considering either form of bail, that is anticipatory bail or regular bail, court look at factors such as the nature and gravity of the offense, the role attributed to the accused, and whether the accused is likely to misuse the liberty granted. For example, if a person is arrested for an offense and is later released by the magistrate on conditions, that release is a regular bail. On the other hand, if a person fears arrest due to false or exaggerated complaint and approaches the court in advance for protection, the relief granted is anticipatory bail. Now let us look at two other important forms of bail, that is interim bail and default bail. Interim bail is essentially a short term or temporary relief. It is granted for a certain period, usually until the court finally decides the bail application. Default bail, on the other hand, arises not because of the merits of the case, but because of delay in investigation. Importantly, default bail is not discretionary. It is a legal right of the accused. So, interim bail is granted to prevent unnecessary custody while the court is considering the bail application. Without interim bail, an accused may remain in jail even when the final decision is on bail is still pending. Default bail is based on very important principle of criminal law, that is the state must complete investigation within a reasonable and prescribed law or prescribed time. If the investigation agency fails to file the charge sheet within this time, the law does not permit indefinite detention. In such situations, the accused becomes entitled to be released on a default bail. For example, if a court grants bail for 10 days until the next date of hearing, that relief for 10 days is known as interim bail. Similarly, if the police fail to file the charge sheet within 90 days in serious offences, the accused acquires statutory right to default bail, regardless of the merits of the case. So, to conclude, bail is essentially about striking a balance between liberty and justice. It ensures that the power of arrest is not misused and that personal freedom is not taken away unnecessarily. At the same time, bail upholds the rule of law by ensuring that the accused remains answerable to the court. Bail reflects the humane and constitutional approach of our criminal justice system. While society has a legitimate interest in prosecuting offenders and maintaining public order, Individuals also have a fundamental right to freedom and dignity. Courts therefore carefully weigh both these interests before granting or refusing bail so that justice is served without causing undue hardship or injustice. A person is released on a bail. Note this as an example. A person is released on a bail is not set free from the law. The person must attend court, comply with conditions, and face the trial. In this way, bail ensures accountability while preserving personal liberty. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.